Hey mate, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. How you going?
Not bad at all. It's just the two of us tonight. Fernando is busy working, so that's unfortunate because
Oh, look, it's sometimes you just got to get back to
it's only breakfast time for
how
him.
it started. Yeah,
Yeah,
breakfast time, and he's already having troubles with work.
yeah, that's it. I was actually thinking, obviously we've got a lot coming up with WAPA and everything, and what is some of your locations that you would like to visit around WA and around Australia? Because I want to start putting a list together and start knocking some of these off the list.
Look, with WA, I've done where I wanted to go, which was Albany. But
And we're doing that again soon.
yes. But then you got places up north east, which you actually can't get into anymore. I'm pretty sure it's all demolished now. It was also a location with a song written by Midnight Oil and the Blue Asbestos Mine.
Oh, God, no, yeah. I wouldn't want to go there. I wouldn't want to go there.
I would love to go out there, but
I reckon that asbestos is all over the ground and everything. You got to go in a bloody spacesuit.
Yeah. You can't get there anymore anyway. The names of the town have been taken off of road signs and
it's officially been wiped from all the maps.
Yeah, it's not fair, but yeah, you don't want people getting sick.
Nah, well, we've actually got a foot in at a place. It's about a 9-hour drive, and one of our members has been in talks with, I won't say the local establishment because the place we're going is basically a ghost town. There's no one there. But one of our members has actually made contact with people the next town across who sort of look after this place, sort of, I suppose, the caretakers, and they're super keen. They said all sorts of stuff goes on there, and that's a place called Big Bell. Yep. So it's a good run out, but it's an actual ghost town. There's an old pioneer type hotel there and Masonic Lodge. I mean, there's always got to be something good going on there, you know. Only one thing better than that would be an abandoned Scientology building.
Well, they wouldn't be abandoned. See, they'd still be practicing because they get their money's worth.
Yeah, that's it. So there's not that many places in WA. I mean, there are obviously. I'd love to get into the Fremantle Arts Centre, actually spend the night in there, but they don't do that.
There are places, but when people say going around to places that are haunted, they either think really big places or places that are empty. They don't really think about these places that are occupied because it's 10 times as hard to get into an occupied place. And then you go forward to someone going, hey, I think this building might have some activity. They're like, what are you talking about? You're a weirdo.
Well, there's a couple of places that we have done in the past which are still utilised every day of the week, basically. And unfortunately, because of privacy requirements that we sign, I can't name them, but anybody who's based here in WA will definitely know the two buildings, and they'll probably go, yeah, if they found out who it was, because they are both very active.
Look, as small as it is, and it might be a plug for this place because you like it so very, very, very much, but I wouldn't mind going to the Rose and Crown after hours and see what they've got in that basement there.
Oh, that's a special place for us, and they are open to it. I have been in there before. Well, the team has been in there before, and in fact, somewhere we do have a video that we shared with Anthony Grizelka when we were on Channel 9. I think it was Current Affair or something like that, or Today Tonight, one of those shows. And they did a story on us, and they did a story on Anthony Grizelka, so that worked out really well. And obviously, Lynn and I had our wedding reception there, and so it's a special place to us. But it's also the oldest
building,
in WA, and there's definitely stuff going on there. Moondine Joe spent a bit of time nicking through there and stuff. So there's a lot of history as well.
Oh, well, not just that, you get more than 5 chips as well.
Don't you dare get me started on that. Because we remember the conversation last time we all went for dinner there, and I mentioned the 5 chip thing. They came out with 6 chips. You guys lost your you lost your shit laughing, really, didn't you?
We did. We lost our chips.
I've worked out you have to ask for a basket of chips to get more than 5 or 6. So I've got it sussed now, but I wasn't very happy with that. When you ask for a steak and chips, you expect more than 5 or 6 chips, even if they are big ones.
So.
Yeah.
So being that we've talked about WA in a small area, because really, there is, but there isn't a lot that you can go out to here, unless you're kind of in someone's, I wouldn't say back pocket, but unless you're closely tied with people, they're not going to let you in places. Where are other places in Australia you'd like to go?
Port Arthur's on the list. I wouldn't mind going there. I don't know. I don't know how active it would be, but obviously we'll know about the massacre there and stuff. Residual. Yeah, and I don't know. I think I can't remember what they call it. Is it Garden Island over in Sydney Harbour?
Garden Island is in WA.
Yeah, we've got one, but they've got one in Sydney Harbour, which is a military installation of some sort.
Okay.
Actually, in the harbour, it's a small one with a few buildings on it, and I've heard that's. I could be wrong, but I think that's what it is. I wouldn't mind checking that place out. That place sounds cool. So
I reckon the Princess Theatre in Melbourne would be absolutely amazing to go to.
Yeah,
it's a weird one. Like you wouldn't have thought, oh yeah, Princess Theatre. Theatre. Why you want to go there for?
Well, funny enough, when you talk about theatres, we've got one over here in Mount Lawley called the Astor Theatre, and that is very active. We've actually been in and investigated that place. In fact, they were good enough to welcome us. The big LED lights that you see out the front of a cinema? They put all of our names up and WAPR all on that. So we were actually famous for about 20 minutes. About 20 minutes, yeah, until we got in.
So the story behind the Princess Theatre in Melbourne was that their opening night and the theatre's opening night for performances in 1887, Frederick Baker, known as Frederick, took a role in the opera Faust. In his final scene, Frederick fell through an onstage trapdoor after suffering a heart attack and soon died backstage.
Yeah.
Opening night.
That's not good. No, it's a hard... When you turn around to me and you say, where would you like to go in Australia? It's a hard one because I'm always thinking more international, more long haul. I'm always thinking about those dream places that I want to go. And I guess most people are the same. You don't think about things that are in your own doorstep. But speaking about international, what would be number one on your list of international locations?
That's a hard one. You know what I'm going to say, though, don't you?
Yeah, I can pin it down to one or two.
Well, it's an asylum. And now I've just had a mental blank completely trying to play games with you. I don't know that. Get back to me on that one because that's a hard one. I've got about 5 I've got to choose from now.
What, Trans-Allegheny? You've got Waverley Hills.
It'd be Waverley Hills. The sanatorium would be definitely number one on my list.
Yeah.
Just not just for the popularity because everyone's been there, but it's pushing myself, I suppose, to try and find something that someone else hasn't.
Because it's been
publicised so much on media, it's just like. I want to find my own thing.
Yeah, everybody goes looking for the creeper and everything like that. See,
no, I want the creeper.
For me, I guess. See, you've got your dream places. Like I would love to go and do Alcatraz because of the history of the place and things like that, and getting locked on an island and stuff. Which we've been
Guantanamo Bay.
Well, it's still active, isn't it?
I'm not sure. Maybe for military things.
Yeah. No. We've been taken over to Rottnest by the Rottnest Island Board because there was things happening over there at one point, which I'm not going to go into details on that, but they actually gave us the accommodation and they got us over there, and we actually got to go and check out a few of the places there, but we had to focus our attention on a specific area that there was a few issues happening, and that was quite interesting for a place like that. I learned a lot of history because there was actually a French film crew over there doing a documentary on the WA history, and they actually had the crew there and they had some Aboriginal elders over there to talk about the Aboriginal history on the island and things like that. So we sat down with the elders, we sat down with the film crew, and it was a very enlightening and very interesting actually night. That things that you wouldn't normally notice. I mean, I'm not saying paranormal things, but things that you wouldn't normally notice when you're over on the island about. Like quokkas, you think are everywhere, but there are certain areas they will not go. And the Aboriginal elder, he told us the reason why. So we actually tested it out that night, and he was bloody bang on. He was spot on with that. But I like the idea of islands. The smaller, the better. I mean, not too small, obviously, but enough to investigate. I mean, obviously you got the Island of the Dolls, which a lot of people know there's a fake one and then there's the real one. But if you're looking at absolute creep factor locations, the one place I would love to go, it used to be Bram's Castle, you know, the Dracula Castle, which basically he might have spent a night in there in his entire life. It's not actually, it's just history, put it that way. Is a place called Huska Castle in I think it's in the Czech Republic, somewhere like that. It's very interesting if you actually look up the history of that place, because it's been located in a place where there's no strategic value, there's no like trade or commerce value to where it is. It's just in the plains, marshland, in the middle of nowhere. And apparently,
how does it situate with ley lines?
I'm not sure about that one, to tell you the truth. But basically what happened, I can't remember the year, 800, somewhere around there. There were people traveling, and I don't know what happened, but I don't know if it was an earthquake or something along those lines, but it opened up a hole in the ground, and people always said bad stuff happened there. And it got to a point where one of their kings or something like that actually decided to build a wooden fort around this hole. It only got half built and they abandoned it because of stuff that was going. They were reporting human or demonic type things coming out with big bat-like wings and all sorts of weird creatures mentioned and stuff. And anyway, what happened was eventually it went into disrepair, this wooden thing. And then in the 1200s, somebody decided, because the hole was still there. Now, before these guys got there, a crew rolled up with all their prisoners, and they said to the prisoners, if you go down, you know, if you do this for us, I mean, these are rapists and murderers, we will wipe your record clean and you're free to go. So the first guy went down. They said he went a fair way down, and it was all silent. And then he just started absolutely screaming, and so they ended up pulling him back up. They said when they pulled him back up, he'd aged by about 20 odd years. He had wrinkles, he had grey to white hair and stuff. And he said, no, take me back. So he was taken off. 2 days later, he died. And then about 2 or 3 other guys went down there. They all started screaming and yelling. They all came back up with white hair, and they all died as well. So at that point, they do reckon one person got all the way to the bottom. They don't know how deep it is, because they reckon they threw, you know, those wooden torches that are on fire down to see how far it goes, and it just kept going, and they never heard any noise and stuff. But there were rumors that one guy got down there and it sounded like almost like it was a time portal, and he actually came out in 2006, and that freaked him out that much as well because of all this in Prague in 2006. And he described what you and I would say every day, you know, iPhone or something like that. And he came back and he went crazy as well. And then in the 1200s, they actually put these big stone blocks across the hole and then built Huska Castle basically around it. But right over the top of the hole, they actually built the chapel.
Oh, geez.
And then built everything up from there. Now, the weird thing about this castle is that, you know, you have all the, with any castle, you have all the you know, all the battlements and stuff like that, so you can fight off invaders and things like that. There was nothing facing outwards. Everything was facing inwards, and it's still like that today. Apparently, every now and then they open it up for people to spend the night. But if you work your way down into the bottom to where the chapel is, they call it. They're saying that it's actually been built over one of the 7 gates of hell. And you go down into the chapel, and there's another room underneath it. They reckon, I don't know, because I've heard people say they found one. But down there as well, they've also got the Devil's Throne. It's a big chair with all demonic stuff, and it's
probably put it there for gimmick.
It's I don't know, but I've seen a few teams, videos of a few teams going in there, and some of the stuff that they've picked up. I am definitely that is on my bucket list.
That's where you think about it, and that's just a way for them to make money. If they're coining it that it's, you know, covering one of the 7 gates of hell.
Yeah, but it's been like that. They've called it the gate to hell for over 1,000 years. So that was back before it was really a money spinning.
Yeah, but why wouldn't people add something else in to make it a money maker?
Oh, I don't doubt that now. I don't doubt that now. But it's like Bran's castle being Dracula's castle. If you look at the history of it, I think he might have stayed there 2 or 3 times when he was passing through. And I don't even know why they would call it that, other than since Bram Stoker and stuff, it became known as Dracula's castle, you know. And we know somebody who's been in there, and he said it's smaller than what you think, and he didn't think it was that active, to tell you the truth. But
well, one place I would like to go, and it's not really heard of much, but it'd be the Chase Vault in Barbados.
I have never heard of that one.
So it's a family crypt in the cemetery. It's gated off and locked. Apparently in this tomb there has been sights of coffins moving within this locked up area. Coffins shouldn't move. No. Especially in a final resting place.
Yeah.
It's got, that's what it says here. It's got the history of moving coffins as members of the Chase family undertake a macabre game of musical chairs or musical tombs. Macabre. Yeah. I'm not an English speaker.
I've been listening to so many true crime things on YouTube while I've been working, and I just had them going. And you can tell they've got AI because they can't pronounce half the words properly. I can't remember. There was one. I think there was, it's supposed to be saying something about somebody who was deceased, and it came desist or desist or something like that.
You being from the UK, you've obviously travelled part of Europe, I'm guessing. So have you ever got your way to Paris?
Yep.
Have you ever stopped yourself at the Paris catacombs?
Yep.
Asshole.
I was only young, but I mean, I was already into the paranormal at that point. And this was back when, you remember the old long cameras that you just had to put the cartridge in, 24 exposures?
Yes, I know the ones.
Mum said, get some nice pictures of Paris and the this and that. And I came back and it was all skulls and stuff. She was not impressed.
Well, I reckon there's remains of more than 6 million people.
Yeah.
500,000 people visit the catacombs annually, but even the massive number is outnumbered by the wraiths, ghouls, spirits, and lost souls that waste patiently to take revenge on their city.
It's actually really creepy down there because I'm
looking at a photo in front of me, and the way they've got like the bones crossed with a skull in the place. It's like,
But because they're tunnels and everything, because it's like a tourist thing now, they have to have a certain amount of ventilation, and it's very light, you know. But every now and then when you're looking around, it just hits that right spot on the back of your neck, and you get your goose pimples up, and you're just like, ooh, you know. And of course, because we were only young, it freaked a lot of people out. But I bloody loved it.
As it would. But I was looking at a list of the 20 most, or what Time Out have come up with the 20 most haunted places in the world. And going back on you saying about Port Arthur.
Yeah.
Well, to their list, it's number 5.
Oh.
So they needed to have some thinking to do. You know, number 1 was Poveglia in Italy.
That is again, that's got a massive history to it, and that's a place I'd like to go.
Wasn't it built on top of bodies pretty much?
There's an original part to the island. There's an original part to the island now. It was originally, well, God, I don't even know what you could say it was originally, but it's been basically a morgue place. Anybody that came down with the plague was sent over to the island, and usually they didn't come back because even if they didn't have it, they were that tightly packed together, they were going to get it. What happened was they used to dig big long mass graves for everybody, but there were that many bodies that they couldn't do it. So what they did was they netted off the back of the island, and they just started putting the bodies in the water. And then what would happen is, and then just throw a bit of dirt on them and stuff.
The island grew bigger.
The island got bigger, and there's actually, if you have a look at plans of it now, it's almost like 2 parts to the island, and there's a little bridge going across. Mm-hmm. The part without the buildings and everything, they reckon that was all the bodies just piled on top of each other, and then with all the dirt and the decomposition, it must have really been rank to smell it all. But they reckon you actually sink into the ground because you're walking over thousands of plague victims.
So you've got all these places with, you know, hundreds, if not thousands of years of stuff behind them. Now, haunted places, going places in the world. Would you go to Epstein Island to have a look around and do an investigation?
Really not that interested in going there because can you imagine the EVPs you'd get? I don't know. I just don't know about that one.
That's worth a question. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'd contemplate it.
A place I would like to go is you got the haunted forest up in Romania. That place, there's an abandoned town site in the middle of the forest where they reckon everybody got up and just left in the middle of the night. And there's reports of werewolves and things, which is obviously the big thing for up and around there. But something must have happened pretty severe for them to actually get up and leave in the middle of the night. There's the dinner plates, or when I say dinner plates, I mean these things are a few hundred years old, but all their bits and pieces, utensils were sort of out and stuff. And I don't know. I think it would be a good place to check out, as well as the obviously the suicide forest in Japan.
And it'll be amazing to go to. As bad as that sounds, saying that.
I actually going to Japan, it would be sensational because they are so big on their horror and stuff over there. They would have some places for sure. I mean, Jake, he was over there just before Christmas, and he actually went to Hiroshima, and he said there's a definite vibe, even though it's sort of back to normal. A lot of the reminders of what happened are still there, and he said there's just a feeling in the air, and I don't know, that is pretty full on. I mean, they reckon Fukushima, there's a lot of spirits sighted up and around that area from when the earthquake and flood and everything.
Japanese have always been huge on their spirits and folklore. Always. It's like the I think we might talk about it in the future. I don't think we've mentioned it in the past. But about the taxi drivers picking up a young female that they swear is there, but look back after driving off and no one's in the car.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one over there.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for another episode.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Look, the problem we've got is there's just so many places. I mean, I could start rattling them all off, but there's going to be a million that I'm going to miss. You know what I mean?
Well, especially around Europe, England, the UK, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, everywhere. Like you got buildings that are as old as time itself, and it's like, well, that'd be all right to go to because you could hop, and it wouldn't be overly expensive to travel.
Well, there was a house Mum and Dad were going to buy. They just before they decided to come over here to Australia, there was a house that was about 300 years old, 400 years old. I mean, there's a good one. If you go down south, you got the Ram's Head Inn. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty specky one to check out. There's a 1,000,001 castles. Obviously, you've got the underground vaults under Edinburgh, and obviously, one I would love to get into is the Tower of London.
I was about to say that you got the Tower of London in England. I was just looking at it in front of me.
Yeah. That is on the list.
Supposedly haunted by not supposedly, it is haunted by precisely 13 ghosts from queens to explorers and anonymous souls.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get an exact number. I don't know. Was that you, Jerry? No, ma'am. I don't know how you can say that it's precisely 13.
No, I wouldn't have a clue.
Well, here's one that I was looking at while you were talking about the last castle.
Yep.
With the gate to hell. You've also got Dragsholm Castle in Denmark. It's apparently a castle in Zealand. Dragsholm is the home of 3 ghosts or thought, although that could rise from 4 depending whether you see L riding through the courtyard. The existence of these ghosts isn't in speculation, but it has been backed up by psychics and mediums. So if you're staying, you can actually stay there as well. One spirit is called the Lingering Bishop. So that place has been there since the 13th century.
Mm.
And actually, you look at it and it doesn't look like a lot.
Yeah.
It's big, but it looks like this white face with a black roof and lots of windows. It's plain, very plain.
A lot of castles are. Everybody thinks the castles are what you see in the movies, and a lot of them are like that, but some of them are not. There are so many manor homes that are in and around England as well that are going to be haunted because they're 500 or 600 years old, and but, you just don't get in.
You look at the likes of Edinburgh Castle in Scotland.
Edinburgh, yeah.
That would be absolutely phenomenal to go to.
Been there.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Been there.
See how it is. You're probably there when they
you've got Edinburgh on one side of the hill, and there's like a little valley, and then you go up the hill on the other side, and there's the castle, so you can see it from anywhere.
Not talking about it anymore.
All right, on that, in that case, we are going to go. So,
not a problem.
Take it easy, people.
See ya.